All right, so good morning, everybody. This is the senior or top department heads of the entire township. Every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, we have this meeting, and we talk about what happened the prior week, what's happening the coming week, and since the meetings are on Tuesdays, every other Tuesday, we have a council meeting at night, so we're always talking about what's going to happen at that council meeting, what ordinances are going to be discussed and hopefully passed, which means new laws and resolutions and a whole bunch of different things. So this is a very talented group of people. Everybody here has multiple years with the Township of Woodbridge. Maybe you want to do the procs, introductions or procs?
Let's do the introductions
All right.
and then go to the procs, and then we'll go to the meeting.
All right, so as you probably know, I'm John McCormick, I'm the mayor. I spent 10 years working for this town as the chief financial officer. The last of the 10, I was also the administrator. Then I went to Trenton when our mayor became the governor and came back in 2006 and ran for mayor and won a few elections since then. And hopefully the same thing happens this November 7th. And I win another 4 years so all these people can stay employed. Because most of them actually serve at the pleasure of the mayor, so the mayor appoints all the directors. So they have a very vested interest in my success, as I do. So go ahead.
Good morning. I'm John Haggerty. I'm the Director of Communications. I have about 35 years of service in the state of New Jersey as Communications Director for numerous state agencies and 16 years here with the mayor. It's 16, is it?
Yep.
16 with the mayor. I came in when the mayor was first elected and been developing the communication strategies for the township over that period of time. You have the Woodbridge News in front of you. That is a quarterly publication thereabouts that we put out, which really summarizes all of the things that are going on in town and what we do. So I'll be available for questions, and TV 35, which comes under my auspices, is filming today's session. So enjoy, feel free to speak up, and we'll go from there.
I actually met John when I was the treasurer for the state. He worked for the state police, I think, at the time.
Attorney General.
Attorney General. We had a couple of things between the taxation division, which was under me, and the enforcement effort, which was under the Attorney General, and we got to know each other a little bit. So when I came here and needed somebody to do the job, we talked, and next thing you know, he's working for me since then.
Here I am. Welcome.
Brian?
My name is Brian Austin. I'm the IT director for the town. All the technology for the PCs, phones, it all comes off our department. We take care of the township buildings. We take care of police, fire, and EMS and emergency services, and also the school systems, computer systems. So that work comes back up my department. That's about all I really have. Thank you.
And I'm Mike Gellin, civil engineer, municipal engineer for the Township of Woodbridge. 26 years experience. I've been in Newark for 20 and 6 years working for Mayor McCormick. Love working for him. So, it's true. Keep it smart. Just a piece of advice: if you would like to career, be a civil engineer. It's very worth it.
So I met Mike when Superstorm Sandy hit, and he was in a flood zone in Colonia, and we had a meeting of residents here, and they came and talked about the problems they're having, et cetera, et cetera. And I met Mike, and Mike was kind of the leader of the group and did a really good job. And we talked afterwards, and I found out he was an engineer for the city of Newark, and our engineer was up there in age, and I said, okay, made this decision right then and there. If something ever happens when Scott leaves, I'm going to first talk to Mike. A few years later, Scott left, talked to Mike, and the rest is history.
Right.
My name is Casey Wagner. I'm going on 8 years now at the township this summer. I went to school at John Jay, New York for criminal justice and public administration / management, so that worked out. I kind of landed here perfect. I ran into the mayor one day just to talk to him. I'm the deputy business administrator. I work with Vito down the end, and we collectively work with both all the municipal council, the mayor, and all the division heads, kind of touching everything it takes to run a town, whether it's DPW, police, special projects, and all that. So every day is something different, which makes work pretty easy, and the days fly by. So
Casey's story is his dad worked for us, and one day he said to me, you got to talk to my son, you got to help him figure out what he's going to do with his future. So literally we sat down and he's looking for me to give him a reference to another town or board or something. And by the time I was 15 minutes into the interview, I said, heck no, I'm not gonna get him a job anywhere else. We're gonna hire him. We had no idea what he was gonna do. But I said, we're gonna hire him. That's it, period. He impressed me that much. And ultimately worked his way through some staff positions, and now he's the number 2 guy to Vito, who's the number 1 guy running the town as the administrator. So that's a cool story too.
It's really worked out.
I'm Bob Huckner, I'm the police director. I graduated Woodbridge High School, William Patterson University, and the FBI National Academy. I was captain with the police department, and in 2011, the mayor appointed me police director.
Michelle Morgan. When I moved to Colonia, I run the division of the Department of Senior Services. When I moved to Colonia from Newark, I started to volunteer with the program on aging, and I've been with the division since then. As director now, I lead a staff of social workers, transportation, and senior centers, because in Middlesex County, there is no other municipality that has the caliber of senior services that Woodbridge Township offers to its seniors. It really encompasses everything that a senior needs so that they can remain here and age in place in Woodbridge Township.
Thank you. Brian Molnar, I'm the Recreation Director. I've been working for Woodbridge Township for 38 years in the field of Parks and Recreation. I think I've touched every rung on the ladder of Parks and Recreation, starting out as a laborer and working my way up to Director. The Department of Recreation runs the Woodbridge Community Center, the Club at Woodbridge, the youth centers, Acacia, the Highland Grove Youth Center, the Evergreen Youth Center, Cypress. So got a lot of fun things that we do in recreation.
Good morning. My name is Manny Fernandez. I'm CFO. I've worked 20 years in state and local government, 12 years here in Woodbridge. I was lucky enough to work for the mayor when he was state treasurer.
Don't demote me.
Don't demote, sorry. State treasurer. And I worked for him for about 5 years there. And I continued to work at the state, and then after a couple years, I just wanted to do something else. And I was able to get a meeting with him and talk to him about other opportunities, and sure enough, he had an opportunity here for me, so it worked out really nice for me. As CFO, I'm in charge of all the budgeting here, general accounting and accounts payable, paying all the bills. I'm staffed with about 7 people, and right now, currently, we're in the budget cycle right now, working with everybody, all the directors here, and deputy heads to get their budgets together for the new year. So it's quite interesting, and it's been a great career move for me. I used to work on Wall Street back in the day, and I enjoy this much more, and some really good people we work with here, so thank you.
Good morning, welcome. I'm John Mitch. I'm the township clerk. Sky, welcome into my role today, and I believe you're also in some classes with my daughter Kara.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay. So I've been with the township 34 years. I'm in my 34th year. While the mayor says everybody here, mostly everybody here serves at his pleasure, I have the pleasure of working with him, but I serve at the pleasure of the council.
Right.
I am a liaison between the council and the public and the council and the administration. I had stints as I was a councilman for a couple of years, acting business administrator a couple of years, and also the emergency management coordinator and been in the clerk's office 23 years. As one of the individuals said, I think it was Mike, I encourage you all to think about government as a career. It really is a good path. You really like it. That's it.
Good morning again. I saw you guys early this morning. Like Police Director Hubner, I'm a product of Woodbridge High School. I went there a little before him. We were talking about when I was there, the track was a cinder track, like in the movie Chariots of Fire. And when we got a blacktop track, that was like a big deal. And then thanks to the mayor, decades later, you got that nice Mondo track. So I'm the health director. I started my career here as a health inspector. I am working on my 41st year here. Never thought I would be in this role or even in this profession. I actually started out as sociology, psychology, criminal justice. I was a police officer for 1 year, as a corrections officer for a year. So it's
I never knew that.
yeah. So the
That answers a lot of
takeaway is
questions.
You know that?
where life will take you. Needless to say, we played quite a role with COVID becoming a COVID vaccination clinic, and we still do that. But, now the effort really is shifting towards mental health. We're doing a lot of good programs, working cooperatively with the police department, and opioids, and particularly fentanyl deaths. So, and e-cigarettes, and we had a recent ordinance passed to not have any more vape shops or establishments that sell such products, especially near schools and so forth. And hopefully you guys are not smoking e-cigarettes, and that there's a flavor ban, and we're out there and enforcing that because, again, we kind of want you to live a long, happy life, and the e-cigarettes could be a problem, certainly substance abuse. So that's it.
Good morning. I'm Marta Levsky-Darden. I'm the Director of Planning and Development for the township. I'm a licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey and nationally. I have an undergraduate and a master's degree from the University of Pennsylvania, and that is specifically in city and regional planning. And really, the only reason I mention that is because I'm probably one of less than 10% of people in the country that actually work exactly in the field of the degrees that they received. And that is and was the entree for me to start working here. I am in my 35th year. I'm in my 26th year as an appointed director. I'm the longest tenured director working for the town. And I get to handle anything you see people doing and not doing on land in the township comes under my purview. So I handle all the permits, all the approvals, all the violations, economic development, all the master planning, ordinances, redevelopment studies and plans, of which we have 80 designated redevelopment areas in the town. So, and I'm still here after all this time because I get the privilege to work for someone like our mayor, who is a very top-down leader. And when I say that, what I mean is we always know exactly where he stands on every issue, and he gives us the freedom to run with the ball when we know where he wants it to go. And that has served this town extremely well during his tenure. Plus, his pet project, his most favorite pet project is economic development. So that means he keeps all of us in my department, and especially me, hopping. So it's always interesting and exciting. It's never dull. I never know what the next day is going to hold. And so that's why I'm still here after all this time.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Vito Smaluka. I'm a lifelong resident of Woodbridge Township, and I'm a product of Colonia High School. I've been with the township. I'm working on my 41st year. I've had the privilege of working with the mayor in several different capacities. The mayor was the business administrator and the CFO for the township, worked with him then. And now I have the privilege of working with him as mayor. I get to see and work with him every day on all of the projects. We get to touch everything that happens in the township on a day-to-day basis. We're also responsible for about 1,300 employees. So there's a lot of municipal services that go out during the day. The mayor has a vision for the town, and I enjoy administrating that vision, which makes the day exciting. I also have the privilege, as Casey touched on, we probably touch on everything, but I also have the privilege of working with probably the top professionals in municipal government in the country, bar none. Folks that sit around this table are absolutely outstanding at what they do in their disciplines. So it makes my job a whole lot easier when I can turn to professionals in their field and get the right answer and put us in the right direction. So that starts from the top, because the mayor has the vision and these folks implement it. So that's it.
There's a few people missing. Carol Ehrlich, who normally sits here, She, like John Mitch, started her career in the legislative branch as a council person, where she was for 11 years, and then she was actually working with me in Trenton as my chief of staff, and then when I came back here, she left the council to take the position in the executive branch as chief of staff. And her main focus is with Marta on economic development, but she also advises on a whole bunch of different things. George Brew, who's out today, he's 40 years, right?
38.
38 years in public works. He worked his way up from
Labor mechanic, yeah.
just like a lot of people here, and does a phenomenal job. He worked as deputy for Dennis Henry, who was terrific. Dennis retired, George took over seamless and does a fantastic job. And the only other person missing is Monica Eppinger, who's been running the library for 6 years. 6 years. So what's interesting is about half this team was here before I became the mayor, and the other half was appointed since I became mayor, but everybody on the team here I worked with when I was here as the chief financial officer. So no one, when I got here, no one was unfamiliar to me. And I knew who could do what, because when you're the CFO, you know everything, because everything goes through the budget. So this is, as Vito said, it's an amazing team. I say the state, he took it to a different level and said the best in the country. I can certainly tell you from being around for as long as I have been, and I'm 42 years in different fields, not all 100% government, but even when I was an accountant, I did a lot of government work. I can tell you for certain, in the state of New Jersey, there's no better group of people running a local government than here. And I'm heading shortly, I'm not going to stay the whole way. There's a mental health kind of forum. The governor's coming at 11 to give a keynote speech, and then we're going to have a roundtable around different mayors and different leaders. I'll tell you right now, we're going to be the only one there that is doing what we're doing, as Michelle said, with senior services, with mental health, with peer coaches for those in recovery and in those who are addicted. We are the leader in so many things in the state of New Jersey, and it's all because of the people around this table. You heard 40 years, 38 years, 35 years, you heard degrees, you heard licenses, you heard the experience that they have. How can I go wrong as mayor when I've got the talent here at this table running this town? It's impossible not to succeed. So with that, I'm going to give you all your proclamations, and then I'm going to sneak out and go see the governor. Not that I'm name dropping or anything. First up, representing Mayor John E. McCormick, Kaylee Skibar from Woodbridge High School. Did I pronounce that right? Yes. All right. Congratulations. Let me just turn this here and we'll take a picture. Okay. Sky Oliveira, representing Municipal Clerk John Mitch from Colonia High School.
Thank you.
Okay, congratulations. Victor Hernandez, representing Council President Greg Ficara from John F. Kennedy High School. I don't know if we did that on purpose, but Greg Ficara went to John F. Kennedy High School. Congratulations, man. Thank you. Go leader. Julian Catalone, Woodbridge High School, representing Council Vice President Kyle Anderson. Congratulations. Thank you. Right. Shachit Rao, Colonia High School, representing Councilman at Large Brian Small. Congratulations, man. Probably didn't say that name right. Okay. Maneet Patel, John F. Kennedy High School, representing Councilwoman at Large Lizbeth De Jesus. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Luke Vasquez, he's not here, representing Councilwoman from the 5th Ward, Debbie Meehan. Noah Alvarez, Colonia High School, representing Councilman 3rd Ward, Corey Spiller. And Corey's daughter is a senior in Colonia High School. All right. Christopher Castagnetta, JFK High School, representing 2nd Ward Councilman Howie Bauer. Do it that way. Oh. All right. Skylar Cooper from Mother Seton High School, representing 4th Ward Councilman Vera Patel. Congratulations. Michaela Turner from Mother Seton High School, representing 1st Ward Councilwoman Sharon McAuliffe. Congratulations. That way.
So the idea I had for something we can do with the town is the creation of a volunteer township-wide park cleanup that's made up of school children, 8th grade 7 to 12. This is intended to increase youth involvement in our great town and also promote environmental stewardship to create more mindful young adults. I'm suggesting the formation of a town youth volunteer group that encourages children in Dillon High School to join Woodbridge Township already amazing youth volunteer cleanups in local parks. So it would be a fine idea to create an official group. Students can join through the school council. Twice a month, a meeting will be held at a park on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. at one of Woodbridge's many parks. Park cleanups would be completed no later than 3:30. With permissions from the mayor's office, I would want 6 members to be chosen, perhaps teachers or principals from the local school district. These individuals would assist and recruit students to join the organization by generating interest. Additionally, the school district could market this organization as a way for students to earn community service hours and to make other community service related connections.
I'll just get an idea, you know. Yeah, if you would, Brian, you want to speak to that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, we could always use help with that. Our parks department, they're part of Public Works, they take care of a lot of our fields and grounds and stuff like that. But, you know, they're very stretched. So, I mean, I think that's a great idea. I mean, we do have a lot of cleanups in town, the Columbia cleanup, the volunteer groups, National Public Lands Day. That's something that, you know, we can talk later on to Eileen Caggiano, who works for the Recreation Department for me. We're always looking for groups for National Public Lands Day, so that'd be a great, you know, spot to, you know, to kick it off maybe. And then, yeah, we'll talk afterwards.
Thank you.
My name is Sujit Rao. I'm from Colonia High School. And my idea was to implement a smart energy electrical grid for Woodbridge. And this smart technology would help optimize energy distribution throughout Woodbridge using sensors and real-time data, which can be connected to an app and help monitor energy, minimize waste, and increase reliability and save money. So this concept is basically to install an interconnected smart electrical grid throughout Woodbridge, where in case of any type of power outage or anywhere, it can reroute power throughout the grid, and it would implement solar power too. So many big buildings such as like Colonia High School or any high school or the mall or any large infrastructure, we could start implementing more solar power, which it could be used to produce more energy and it could save money for the township too. And many uses of this could be, it could help our hospitals, it could be more cost effective, and especially during any type of power outage, especially if we have a lot of rain and flooding, it could save a lot of money and time, and it could help a lot of communities.
Fantastic. So I'll take that one. Chief of Staff, who sits directly right across from me, Carolyn Ehrlich, is our champion when it comes to green energy. And we are working on something exactly like that. We're applying for a grant right now. And it's called, everything you touched on is exactly what it is. It's just called something different. It's called a microgrid. That's what they're calling it for the sake of the grant. So right now we're working on those products where we're going to use battery energy to save some of that solar energy that's happening on our bright days and power some of those buildings such as the PD, schools, hospitals, and essential businesses, so that in the event of something, a catastrophe happens, there's a backup source for power, and it is going to be smart as it is going to be on your phone. So you hit everything. I don't know where you got that from. You hit it all, so very good.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Julian from Woodbridge High School, and my topic is public safety. So the prevalence of online marketplaces nationwide in recent years has exploded. People from teenagers to senior citizens use platforms such as Facebook Marketplace to conveniently and locally exchange items. And so in order to promote safe internet practices throughout the township, help track possible crimes through online marketplaces, and to provide peace of mind to Woodbridge residents, a safe zone of 1 to 2 parking spaces outside the Woodbridge Police Department could be designated clearly, where they could be encouraged to conduct meetings instead of at their private homes or at familiar places. And such a program is not intended to create an extreme burden on either the Woodbridge municipal government or the police department. And to implement this, both signage and extra security cameras will be installed around the 2 spots to ensure that those who come to utilize it are known and they know that they are safe there. And furthermore, this is not intended to have police officers serve as witnesses or personally oversee any single transaction. In the case of an emergency, a police officer will be close enough to respond and be rectify any situation that happens. And so this valuable resource in the community is intended to use very little police or government resources. And while many already move near the police department for the exchange of goods, proper advertising through this new service will be necessary through extremely successful cooperation between the mayor for communication, the municipal council, and the Woodbridge Police Department. This program has seen great success in neighboring municipalities such as East Brunswick, Wilton, Milltown, and Middlesex Borough.
Thank you. Director Hoffman?
Sure, so that's something that's actually been talked about quite a bit. It's come and gone a couple different times. As you can see, the parking lot out here outside Town Hall isn't all that big. It's usually overflowing, so to dedicate some spots is a little tough. So we've always been looking for the correct location to monitor, but that becomes an issue too, because manpower considerations, with other type of things going on, our calls for service. But it does need to be monitored, and we use social media to kind of warn people about different buying online. The Facebook Marketplace, for instance, because a lot of crime does do that. So that's an ongoing discussion here, how to best do that. But you're right on the point. It's something that needs to be addressed.
Hi, I'm Skylar Rivera, and I'm with Colonia High School. So I wanted to propose a program that would be made up of a group of adults and high school students that would visit the middle school and elementary schools, but also have counsel outside of schools altogether. That would teach these students about race, gender, and sexual equality in an interactive, age-appropriate manner. I want to tackle the younger schools because I feel like it's a big thing in our later years of middle school and high school to confront these issues and bring it up. But in elementary school, it was something to kind of ignore unless it was a special day or a special one. Confronting the stigma of these topics at an early age so that the children in our community understand the importance of it instead of ignoring it until it does become a problem. So it would be made up of a couple of adults who would aid in the running of the program while high school students explain the inequality that is shown in these topics, teaching in a way where they are not trying to push the bad or the good. They show both sides and help students understand in an interactive way. The goal of the program is to make sure kids at a young age are able to recognize how harmful and wrong the misuse of race, gender, and sexual orientation can be, and be able to treat their peers accordingly, knowing the right from the wrong within everything that they are confronted with and shown through social media and internet. Kids get their electronics at 5 years old these days. I don't think it's the smartest idea to start teaching them about what you should say to people at 12. So I would say for implementing this, we would start by contacting teachers and adults in the community about being a part of the program. From there, we would talk to the administrators at the middle and elementary schools to see if they would be interested in partaking in such a program. And if that's been done, we could contact clubs and high schools and anyone in our community who really just wants to join in and use announcements for the school to advertise the want for high school students to join with a group of adults and students who are able to visit schools. We can start to have bi-weekly meetings to plan our activities and ways to discuss for our visits, which will be once a month alternating schools in the district. Yet again, I just think it's something that we want to make not uncomfortable, and yet at such a young age we try to ignore it so that we don't make the kids uncomfortable. But I think that's why it is an uncomfortable conversation.
Thanks, guys. So that's a very well thought out plan. Unfortunately, that doesn't come before this body. It goes before the Board of Education, but that's something that we'll pass along to them, absolutely. Thank you for that.
So, my idea is that I believe young people need to volunteer in their communities more often. And to do that, we should give them more incentives rather than to take away incentives. Young people have been volunteering less in the last few years, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. New Jersey has also, New Jersey barely cracks the top 50% of states with the most high school volunteer hours, which is something that we need to increase. We need incentives for young people to volunteer. Currently, some schools give minor benefits to students, such as on graduation. They get an extra strip, but I believe it should go further. We've already taken away some schools have taken away the requirements for service to graduate, which I think is a good first step. However, more incentives. I consider perhaps that students with high volunteer hours could get discounts on certain school events. Mandatory community service creates a negative mindset, I believe, towards volunteering. And making it mandatory would not have, it would decrease the student's chance of coming back to volunteering, which I think giving incentives will make them want to come back.
Okay, very good, thank you. Megan Cushman, who's the Deputy Director of Communications, is very much involved in our community volunteer program. She coordinates the volunteers for the Senior Olympics and oversees the compilation of our community volunteer directory. Megan?
Thank you. Thanks. That's a really great idea. I mean, volunteers are kind of the base of our community, and you really need them to get a lot of programs done. So as John Haggerty mentioned, the Senior Olympics is huge. I think that some of you might have volunteered for me in the past, which I greatly appreciate. That is a huge event. There's like 1,200 seniors who come out to that event, and it can't run without our volunteers. So that's going to be in September. And the volunteer directory is posted on our website. We update that every year. So if you're looking for volunteer opportunities or your friends are looking for volunteer opportunities, you can pass that along to them. It's posted on our website. And we also have a great program called Tooling Around the Township, which we just completed in April. And that is completely volunteer based. So we go and we repair homes of senior citizens or disabled or low income families that can't make repairs themselves. And it's completely volunteer based. Even our restaurants in town, our local restaurants, donate food to feed our volunteers. So there's always volunteer opportunities. And if you have a group of people that you want to volunteer with, you can reach out to us, and we will always fit you with a program that you would be interested in.
Okay, we're going to have Director Volchowski and Director Mulder weigh in on volunteers as well.
Just very briefly, so I was asked to be on the planning board. So with government, youth and government, there's a lot of boards, the zoning board, planning board, renters board. It's a commitment, and it's you don't get paid for it. I'm also on the safety committee. I'm on some other committees, Sustainable Jersey. What I want to convey is first thing, things like, oh man, so I really want to do this. I got to be here every Wednesday, or I got to be here every Tuesday. I can tell you from my personal long experience, in the beginning, I'm like, wow, what am I getting myself into? Why do I want to do this? But you grow so much with knowledge about things you never thought about. And it can take you into other areas or other careers, and just you build different relationships. So when it comes to volunteering, I know a lot of people inherently, and it's natural, you don't want to do that because it's your time. But you can really grow as an individual from it. It can take you places with a career.
Right.
Victor, real quick, I'm glad to hear what you had said. I'm also the president of the Board of Education for Woodbridge. About 7-8 years ago, we tried to put a policy in to make it mandatory for 60 hours in your 4-year high school career, volunteer hours. That's why now you guys get the purple cords when you're going to graduate. We wanted to make it mandatory. The parents flipped out on us. You know, they were like, you can't make it mandatory, how dare you say it, blah, blah, blah. So we put it to suggested 60 hours volunteer. I'm glad to hear students do volunteer, and you're right, that stat about New Jersey being one of the lowest, you're right, this is where 6-7 years ago, we took that information. But anybody who's a part of an organization, who's part of a sports team, you guys do volunteer hours. The organizations that you belong to volunteer. So just keep it up, like Director Wachowski said, you know, sometimes it's hard to sit there, I gotta be there, but volunteerism is really the backbone of the community.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Kaylee Skibar. My idea is very brief, but I think it might be effective. So a lot of kids leave high school not having ideas of how to go into college, living their life back home. My idea is for a program for students and young adults to learn life skills such as applying for bank account, applying for loans, filling out checks, mainly to live on their own and live life, basically. Yeah, I think it can be held at libraries or any of our recreational centers. Obviously, we need adult volunteers to teach these things, but a lot of students would benefit from this.
Excellent, very good. So we used to call that home ec when I was a kid, but that was many, many years ago. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Mahi, and my topic is student activism. My idea is to encourage students to report changes they want in the community and have the ability to actively work to address that issue. Students often have many complaints about their community, and some feel as though they're not heard. By letting students report their issues conveniently through a Google form, for example, it makes it easy for students to voice their opinion. Google Forms should be posted on school websites or township websites for students to report community issues. The most common issue or relevant issue could be chosen to be focused on, and selected students from different schools in the township can work to propose a solution. And another way this could be implemented is through teachers, say in classes where they're doing research, they can look for an issue that they feel like should be addressed and actively work to propose a solution for that. So I feel like by getting students to work on something that they feel like should be changed, it'll create a positive feedback loop of feeling that their voices are heard. That's it.
Thank you. We'll also pass that along to the Board of Education.
My name is Mikaela. I'm from Alexia. My idea is also very brief, but at my school we have things such as like peer tutoring and language programs, and I thought it would be very beneficial if like we could put it like for younger kids as well, because oftentimes students struggle in school, and sometimes it goes unnoticed, as well as their mental health, especially in children. It goes like past by. So students could volunteer to tutor as well as chat with students, like just to see how they're doing, make sure they're okay. And like a couple of adults could like monitor and stuff. But yeah, just for
Very, very good. We have a program, our IT department is a shared service program with the school board. So we do a lot of programming through social media that reaches the students. So we're looking to have our council interact a little bit more with the Board of Education in order to provide the social tools necessary for the students as they're matriculating through schools to communicate with one another and to communicate with their peers.
Thank you, Scott.
Hi, my name is Skylar Cooper. I'm from another student. My idea surrounds volunteering and charity organizations and donations specifically. So as you see around Woodbridge, we have a lot of donation bins which is easy for people to just put in things they like to donate. But my idea goes into students from high school around the Woodbridge area coming together into a group that can be monitored by other adults and volunteers run it. And they would come together to help plan opportunities where people can donate clothing and toys, school supplies. So it'll be volunteering opportunities for the students, and you can also see the impact they're having on their community as well.
Director Josh, so we have a gentleman, his name is Peter Barcelona. He's been running a combination of Have a Heart and We Feed for a number of years. When with the mayor, all the mayor's concerts that we have, there's the bins where people drop off food. There's a drop off, if you look on the township website, it's advertised where folks drop off non-perishable foods at the health center. So what I'd like to do is at the conclusion, I'll give you his contact number. You can learn a lot from him. He can just better describe the network of what is already in place that I think you'll find very interesting, because Woodbridge Township is deeply involved in things like weed feed and so forth.
Additionally, you should know that we do toy drives, clothing drives seasonally as we get into the holiday season. And if there's a need, if there's a disaster out there, a fire in an apartment complex, we organize drives to make sure that the victims of those disasters receive clothing, food, and supplies as necessary. So we do have a year-round ongoing effort that works through our senior services, through our youth services, and through our health department to address the needs of folks who really have to get something that they don't have or that they can use. So, expanding our ability to get materials to others through drops is a very, very commendable idea.
Thank you. Christopher?
My name is Chris Castaneda. I'm from John F. Middle High School. My idea evolves around a poll worker getting involved in like elections. So my idea was basically off the concept that a lot of young people are not as involved in politics as, say, like older generations are. And if younger people got more involved in politics and elections, we would have a country democracy that can work in a more efficient way. So one of my ideas implementation involves like having like in-school volunteering. We already kind of have like people can like help their friends get registered to vote, but I feel like if we had more like a program for people to join in schools, and they can go over and volunteer like during assemblies or during free time during school, help their friends get involved and stuff, and they can sign up for different things like around election time, they can go and like sign up for volunteering and then work there. But not only that, but also just have like programs in schools that can make it so that people can be more interested in politics and learn more about how our government works. And I do feel like it's important that if you have your peers involved more often, then you're more likely to be involved. And it would be really good to have like, if I were going to like, the voting poll and see a lot of young people working there and getting more of like that like in schools and like having people being interested in stuff like the clubs and stuff. So that's basically like my idea is, and so yeah, so like it can be like during an assembly, maybe like some like a certain like maybe like the seniors come down and they can like see how like people, maybe their peers like in school work at a like election place, and they are in like a club and they can see their friends do it, and they can like teach about how everything works and stuff. So that's basically what my idea is.
Thanks, Mr. Mitch.
Thank you. So Christopher, it's a great idea. I will speak to Mr. Molnar about it as the president of the Board of Ed. But I'm sure you didn't see my note from up here. I left a note to mention when we go around the table later. One of the things I wanted to mention is there are poll worker opportunities available. And there has been recent changes in the law. You can now be a student in high school and you can be paid. You can make up to $300 working one day. Albeit it's a long day, but it's worth the $300. It's not taxed, you know, so it's a nice $300 check a couple weeks after you work. Be happy if you have a writing utensil there, I'll give you a phone number you can call if you even want to possibly try it this year yourself. For any of the students, 732-745-3471 is the phone number. You call the Essex County Board of Elections and mention you want to be a poll worker. I will tell you though, in order to be a poll worker, you do have to identify yourself with a political party, okay? And that's very paramount to how the process works in a primary election, which we have 3 weeks from today. There's still vacancies, and not only in Woodbridge, but countywide. It's a great opportunity. You are volunteering to an extent, but it's nice to get the stipend as well. But I'll speak to Mr. Molnar, I know years ago, also put together, years ago when he was on the board, earlier on, I should say, having governmental classes taught in the schools, and that was something he drove home. So I think we can add on to that.
And just FYI, for anybody who's considering political science as a major going into college, poll watching and signing up for the election process is a wonderful introduction into the world of screwy politics. So you really want to be able to get that introduction and just know that political science, that's where I started off, I ended up in communications. So it's a good foray into an introduction to the world of politics.
Thank you, Mr. Jagger. And Mr. Mitch, I want to welcome a late arrival, Luke. I hear that there may be a congratulations in honor of your newest driver in the room. Is that true?
Yes, it's true.
All right. So, why don't you, so you must have a birthday around here too, right?
Yeah.
Is Jay birthday?
My birthday, yes.
Happy birthday. So why don't you introduce yourself, and then we're going to get into your agenda.
Okay. Hi, my name is Luke Vasquez. I go to Woodbridge High School. And my idea revolves around the current state of the St. James Food Pantry. I have a grandmother who works there. She helps out a lot. And she was saying that these recent cuts of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program has completely bombarded them way more funds than they've had, and they're like, food shortages are becoming like a really, really big problem. And I was talking to her, and she was saying that historically, the summer months are the driest months for food pantry because people just don't have to donate as much. In the summer, I work for the Woodbridge Art Department at the park program that they have, where I'm like a park counselor at the program. So I thought a good way to maybe raise some awareness and maybe bring some food to the pantry would be to make a contest, like a 1-week contest throughout all the parks in the district, with like maybe like an ice cream party as like a prize, where kids, we can like hand out flyers. I can make the flyers like to bring home to the parents. They can bring food to the parks, and all that food would go to the food pantry. And the winner part would be like an ice cream party or something like that would motivate the kids to want to help out.
Very good. Okay. Actually, I'm going to have two directors speak to that. The first one that
Well, very much like
Mr. Scott.
Yeah, I'm going to give both of you the kind of name and contact of Pete Barcelona, who's been working for a number of years through the health department. He's the creator of the Weed Feed program through the mayor. There's a very intricate operation he has with food pantries and food donations and so forth. Great idea that you just proposed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you his contact number and let him know that you will be calling him and to share your ideas, see if you can implement that, and then whoever else you think we want to do that with. But otherwise, just that he can share his deep experience with this type of thing and explain what we already have in place and any other ideas that you come up with that can enhance what we already do. But great idea.
Thank you, Director. Director Molnar, who's in charge of recreation.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I will sit down with Brielle Small, who's our playground coordinator for the summer, and her staff, and come up with how we can do this. That's a great idea. Thinking about our area, the avenues where we live, it's just down at Lincoln Park, we could have the bed, and people could just come down that one day. There's a lot of pocket playgrounds that we have in town, that little neighborhoods can come and donate. That's great. We will definitely do that this summer.
Thank you, Mr. Molnar. I'd like to congratulate all of you. The topics were fantastic and well thought out. I appreciate it. It's probably one of the most in-depth groups that we've had
in a very long time, so congratulations, so I appreciate that. So this meeting actually does happen weekly, so it happens every week upstairs in the mayor's conference room at 10 a.m. every Tuesday. And what we do, and I know the mayor touched on it briefly, but we're going to touch on it a little more, and we're going to actually go through the meeting, and you folks get to participate. Usually doesn't happen with the council, but we represent the council through the council's agenda, which is in front of you. We're going to go through that briefly, and you can speak on any topic you'd like, if you'd like to. And then we'll go through all of the agendas as we go around. What this meeting does is each one of these directors, as we talked about the work earlier that we do, each one of these directors are in charge of specific projects throughout the calendar year. Those projects touch other departments, and what we do here is we coordinate those projects through other departments, whether they're happening on the governmental side, or they're happening with construction, or they're happening with DPW about picking up sanitation, or they're happening with sewage treatment, which no one likes to talk about, but it happens every day. So these are things that happen here, and we also talk about current events, stuff that pops up that we're need to be prepared for. So with that, what we do is we're going to go through the council agendas. I'm going to go around and I'm going to talk to each one of the directors and see what's on their agenda and what they have coming up. So in front of you, you have this right here. And we're going to go through each one of the council members. We do this every other week before the council meetings. So Councilman President Greg Ficarra.
Councilman Ficarra is well involved with the wellness initiative here in Woodbridge Township. And we just proclaimed Mental Health Wellness Month for this past month. And so we're going to continue to advocate for wellness programs as we go out through the summer. So that marries up with the council president's agenda.
Thank you, John. Anything else on Councilman Ficarra?
Yeah, Vito, for a couple recreation events on Council President Ficarra's agenda. Fireworks will be July 3rd with the rain date of July 5th. The annual pizza run will be July 12th, and the Crossroads race will be September 3rd.
Thank you.
Real quick, on his agenda, mental health, we were just talking about that. The mayor brought up about all the programs that we do. This is week 2 for Woodbridge for the Arrive program, which is a mental health program where we're one of 4 towns in Middlesex County that received a grant from the Attorney General's office. And what we do is we embed a mental health care worker with a police officer, and they'll answer all mental health type calls for service. So that mental health care worker is there right with the police officer, interacts, and they can make a determination what should be done and what kind of follow-up is needed. Mental health, calls have skyrocketed, and then with the pandemic, it's even been worse. So it's a great program. We're really proud to be selected as one of the towns in the county to be involved in this.
Thank you, Director Hubbard.
With regards to senior services, this month is recognized in May, Older Americans Month. So we had a Mayor Senior Summit and Older Adult Expo last week, and we had we had 55 exhibitors whereby they were presenting all kinds of government programs to senior citizens, from financial programs to anything that will help them to remain living independently at home. Also, what we have completed is a senior services directory. It is it's a little over 100 pages long, and all that directory encompasses a variety of programs and services for seniors, families, and caregivers in Woodbridge Township. It encompasses federal, state, county, and township programs so that they can learn how to apply for food stamps and gas and electric and water and oil services. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Morgan. All right, Councilman Anderson. Council Vice President Anderson, forgive me.
Vito, again, I'll just touch on tooling around the township, which Megan spoke of already. So tooling around the township just completed at the end of April. As she said, we had a wide range of volunteers from high school students, college groups, individual volunteers group, as well as larger corporate entities who volunteer. It went great this year. We did over 24 homes and had upward of 200 volunteers, so another great success. Vito, you know, Pat and Cherry took over this year. Perfect fit. He's a civil engineer, intricately understands home repairs and all that stuff, so he was phenomenal, went really good.
It's also important to note that Councilman Anderson is the lead advocate for the minority community here in Woodbridge Township and is in the process of putting together a Juneteenth festival, which will be coming up on June 19th, I believe, at Merrill Park.
17th, right?
17th? So I just wanted to bring that up and make you aware of the fact that that's in the offing and coming up.
Yeah, June 17th,
June
and it's
17th.
actually going to be behind Woodbridge High School.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, everyone. Councilman Howie Bauer.
Peter, I want to touch on the Woodbridge Waterfront Park. We just completed the bridge, pedestrian bridge that length over the Raritan River, and it's scheduled to be open later this month.
Additionally, under Councilman Bauer, he has the Hometown Hero banners. In conjunction with Councilwoman Debbie Meehan, on May 24th, a week from this coming Wednesday, will be the annual Support the Troops rally at George Frederick Plaza outside the Health Department and beside Woodbridge High School. The Hometown Hero banners has become a very popular program where veterans and their families purchase a banner and we hang it at various locations around the town. And this year at the Support the Troops rally, we're anticipating having over 100 banners on the field to display the courage and sacrifice of our veterans over the years.
Thank you. Councilman Small.
If I can, Vito, because the students particularly brought up volunteerism, and I know Councilman Small is constantly advocating for volunteers at the local first aid squads and fire departments. While some of you will be definitely going away, I'm sure, to college, those of you who might be staying local should consider, or could consider volunteering at the local first aid squad or the fire department. And they also offer stipends as well on an annual basis. So it's a length of service of work program. In addition to that, also, if you're going to Middlesex County College and you are a volunteer firefighter, he also advocates for tuition reimbursement. So those are some programs also for those of you who are pushing volunteering opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Mitch. Councilwoman Lizbeth DeJesus.
Under Police Community Relations, we're moving forward with National Night Out, which will be August 1st at the Community Center again. And obviously, that's a night where we invite the public to come out and meet the police officers. All the officers volunteer their time. We have rides, food vendors, the fire department's there, National Guard, EMS. So that's always a great night.
Thank you, Director. She also has Youth in Government, which I believe she'll be here a little later on. Okay.
Yeah, she's working right now.
Okay. Councilman Spiller.
If I may.
Sure.
Under Route 1 redevelopment, Councilman Spiller sits on the redevelopment agency, and he, with Carolyn Ehrlich, the director of the redevelopment agency, and myself, are constantly working on targeted efforts to redevelop the entire corridor of Route 1, specifically most effectively from Route 35 to the Rollway border. And we're looking at development that will be occurring at what used to be Bud's Hut. You've already seen Smoothie King and a couple of other fast casual restaurants. And now Pier 1 Imports, we've been working on for just about 20 years. It's the former Pier 1 Imports at the intersection of Route 1 and Route 35, and there's going to be a new development there.
Thank you. Number 2 under Councilman Spiller, he was the driving force in Eric LeGrand Believe Park, which is a park
geared towards individuals with disabilities. He, along with our corporate partners, helped put that park together, so it's a very successful park right off of Avenel Street. Councilwoman Debbie Meehan?
May I?
You may.
So, senior services, Woodbridge Township has 6 senior centers, which is unheard of. The mayor's goal was to have a senior center strategically placed throughout all of Woodbridge Township so that seniors have a place to go. There's a monthly luncheon held at each center so that individuals can break bread together, they can do a little dancing, they can meet old friends and make new ones, and to decrease isolation. Even before COVID took over, that was the mission, that was the goal, so that our seniors can remain engaged in our community. It's also a place where they themselves do some volunteer work. And senior transportation allows all of our seniors to get to our senior centers. They meet with our social workers, and they have an opportunity to engage in all of the community events. The mayor's senior concerts, the mayor's concert series, the fireworks show. So it's a collaboration between 3 divisions in order to keep all of our seniors engaged in our community.
If you note under Councilwoman Meehan's number 4 events, it's extensive. She is the one councilwoman who actively goes out and tries to solicit funds through events that will benefit folks who are suffering usually medical maladies or disaster-related impacts. So she is a huge community advocate and raises thousands and thousands of dollars for those individuals who have desperate need for medical treatments.
Thank you. Councilman Patel.
The councilman wanted me to express his appreciation to the administration, specifically engineering department, for the design of the new parking lot that was just opened up last week and where it was sorely needed in the Island Shopping District. So I'll pass that on to Mr. Gelman and staff.
Thank you, Mr. Mitch. Councilwoman Sharon McAuliffe.
If I may.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Under number 5, Transit Village, downtown Main Street, we adopted a Transit Village plan back in 2011 that you're seeing as you drive up and down Main Street come to fruition every day. There are 3 projects just right here that Sharon is working with to make sure that any of the retail space is utilized. That's 10 Main Street, right across the street, 10 Green Street, a block down, and the Brook Street lofts a block over, and you can't miss them as you drive down Main Street. So we had this plan in 2011, and we've been working on, it looks like an overnight success that we've been working on for approximately 20 years. So.
You'll also note under Councilwoman McAuliffe that she has a number of events as well. We are right now planning the summer farmers market with Eileen from our recreation department, and we just met yesterday to figure out how we're going to staff it. We're moving it from Town Hall parking lot to the Parker Press area, and we're looking for a very successful farmers market season this year.
So keeping true to form, Mr. Mitch, anything?
So I will, especially because the students are here. If you look at item 1A, so the police department signed off yesterday, as did the building department. We're going to permanently allow Moby Dick's to have outdoor dining. During COVID-19, there were many restrictions put on indoor dining, which gave an opportunity for outdoor experiences that we probably really never saw here, not only in Woodbridge, but statewide and beyond. So Moby Dick's has applied for outdoor, so we're going to allow that to go permanent, while other businesses who still have outdoor dining, that'll allow to stay in place during, still under the COVID rules until November of 2024. So while I will be removing that, we're also, as Martin indicated before, with redevelopment and changes here on Main Street, you've probably noticed a lot yourself. You got Fly Bowls opening soon, but the main tavern which has been a staple on Main Street for probably about 70 years, will be shutting soon and reopening under new ownership. It's going to become Lenahan's Irish Pub. That is now official. It'll appear on my agenda as soon as we can get it changed. So that's another change that's coming to Woodbridge.
Could I just ask you a question about outdoor dining?
Sure.
So does everybody who goes permanent have to do a process with you to permanently use their existing governor's temporary outdoor dining?
If they want to stay, they're going to have to start with you, though, for site plan approval.
Right, but I have to make sure then they get to you.
Yes. Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay, because we have like 5 of them that already were approved, and I don't know that I'm telling them all they need, because I would usher them to you.
Yeah, their liquor will not. So my office also oversees all the liquor licenses in the township. So if they want to continue the use of alcohol outdoors, yeah, they'll have to get approval, which is a process. So it could run, concurrent with yours.
Mhm. Okay,
So
thank you.
if I could just chime in on that, the outdoor dining at Movies is going to be huge for the concert series. When we do the Thursday local band shows at Herbert Rankin Park across the street, them having that with set outdoor dining, that'll really benefit those shows.
Thank you. So these are the interactions that happen during our meetings, so everyone's aware of what's going on. Please feel free to join in. We're going to go around. So far, any questions? Any comments on the agendas? As you can see, some of the items on council's agendas are numerous. So they handle a lot of items, and we try to make sure that we facilitate that they happen in a timely manner. So now what we do is we go around and we discuss what's happening currently in our department. If nothing's happening, we just pass along, but we'll start with Mr. Haggerty.
As you can see, the communications department under myself and my staff, Megan Kushba and Kelly Walsh, who are here, really are hands-on with every single department. So we are constantly fishing for communications items that we can put in our newsletter. We are currently working on the summer staycation edition of the Woodbridge News. It's going to focus solely on all the events, programs that are coming up throughout the summer here in Woodbridge Township, and we anticipate, with the cooperation of each of my department heads here, that we will be populating that magazine and getting it out mid-June. And that's where I'm at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Haggerty. Mr. Austin.
Just a quick follow-up on the cameras. Just talking to Marta earlier, trying to get that resolved with the power for the one, and also I just did all the paperwork over to Casey for the quotes for the clean stuff.
Yeah, the one that got hit over in Ford, so
All right.
it cost enough. I'm gonna run it through the JIF for insurance, see if it'll cover the cost.
Excellent.
So that's the biggest thing I got. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gallen.
Just an update on the wood program, wood resurfacing projects. The pre-construction meeting is this Thursday at 1 p.m. So next Monday will be the official start.
Thank you. Excellent walkthrough yesterday at New Dover and Colonia Boulevard as the mayor inspected that area, and it gets set to get the new traffic light. So I thank you, your staff, for laying out Woods Lane and how that's going to look in the future.
It will happen.
Good job. Mr. Wagner.
I'm good. If you don't know, we spoke to the gas company this morning for the work on Main. I was gonna grab George. We're probably gonna look to bring in a sweeper early Saturday, once work completes Friday night, just to hit it before everybody gets there for the street fair. That's one thing. And
The
then,
first day is very good.
yeah,
They restart well.
I think they got about 50 extra feet and then they had in their plans, so they're moving along. So best case, it's done Thursday, and then we have full Friday to make sure it's ready for Saturday.
Very good.
And
then-
somebody asked me, what's that actually all for?
The gas
That's the
line?
connection on Main.
Connection.
Oh.
Yeah.
For the new restaurant.
For the new restaurant.
Okay.
Not only that, it's going to deliver new gas lines to all of the businesses. So
Right.
each one of those businesses are going to have a cut in the roadway. We spoke to the gas company today. We just received a text back from them. They gave me an update, and they're going to make sure that everything's in order for that event, as Mr. Wagner's looking over it.
And then, last thing, Phil, we got your proposal for the doors and windows, so we'll be able to get that in before the grant period ends, and then we'll probably sit to look to see what else we could do before June 30th. So you'll see that, just so you can look over it. It looks like it matches what T&M had spec'd out, but take a look, then we'll see what they're really gonna do.
Thank you. Thank you. Director Hubbard?
Just an update for you, June 9th, we'll have 6 recruits graduating the police academy, and we've gone through 50 candidates. We're down to 10 for the next class. They're well into the process.
Excellent, thank you.
The senior.
Director Morgan, sorry.
Thank you, sorry. The senior summit was very successful. I want to thank Director Molnar. Your team was phenomenal in helping us set everything up. And Brian with IS, the sound system was superb this year, so that the entire rink was audible. We are having a conference on senior fraud and protection in September. We're going to host that at the Maple Tree Senior Center. We will advertise it similarly as we did for the summit, but we will be aware of the size of the senior center. And if it really explodes, then we can do something really grand, again, with the WCC. Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Molnar? Good.
I think I asked you, but did you contact Councilman Small about that?
Not yet.
If you, right.
Mr. Molnar?
Thank you. Just a couple numbers. Mini golf this past weekend, $2,200. We had 356 players play. Batting cages was $155. Highland Grove membership so far, 103. Springwood, 22 existing members re-signed, 30 new. We are doing our big open house in-person sign-up this weekend, Friday the 19th, Saturday the 20th, Sunday the 21st. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Highland Grove and Springwood. We started this in-person registration during COVID. It was May of 2020. The governor was starting to lift some restrictions, and swimming pools, community pools were part of it. And then in the 11th hour, he decided that we could open our community pool. We had a plan in place that we were going to do a drive-by registration. And that's what we did. And our numbers doubled that year for the amount of membership that we had. So we've always kept now this in-person registration weekend. And that's really going to drive our numbers up after this weekend.
Thank you. Director Fernandez?
The budget process, budget preparation process is continuing. I'm going to sit down with some directors to go over some of their salary rosters to make sure that I've captured all the members of your staff, probably in the next couple of days, and to our staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mitch?
Gearing up for the election in 3 weeks. We're coming to a close on the financial disclosure statements. Almost everybody is now in compliance, just a couple more holdouts. And we will be starting the renewing of the 96 liquor licenses probably as early as the 23rd, once I get tax clearance from the state. So.
Very good. Thank you. Director Bujalski.
So an update on the status of our forthcoming health mobile for our guests here, thanks to the initiative of the mayor and chief of staff Carolyn Ehrlich. We're going to have a health mobile, and it was provided through a donation, so there's no cost to the township at all, to try to serve health needs, particularly a number of health screenings to underserved communities, seniors, schools, any number of entities to try to, for the health and the well-being of the township. This vehicle is a very specialized vehicle, has a lot of medical apparatus to it, and it's being built out in Ohio. So we're anxiously waiting for its arrival. So the most current status is now the graphics on it are just being finished up, and I'm happy to report that a delivery date is being expected sometime at the end of this month, May, or early June. So.
Very good. Director Darden.
Thank you. So as John indicated, Pliables is opening this weekend at the street fair. That's Saturday the 20th. As I've said before, they're the first national downtown retailer to open on Main Street since CVS in 1994. So it's been almost 20 years. I hope it's the first of many. I know that we're working to issue additional permits in the area, and this is our high season for building permits and COs, so I know we have a bunch of ribbon cuttings coming up too. So,
excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. So as you can see, there's a lot of topics and a lot of different disciplines happening within the township. Is there any questions for the discussions that we just had? All right, with that, we're adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.